Have you ever found that the more intensely you pursue something, the more it seems to elude you? You strive, you push, you chase your dreams with all your might. But what if I were to tell you that the very moment you cease chasing is the moment everything you've worked for begins to come to you with no effort? It's similar to a magnet. The harder you attempt to pull, the more it repels. But what unfolds when you simply let go? The magnet draws everything to you without force, attracting what you require naturally. Or consider a plant in your garden, watered constantly, checked on perpetually, but never given the space to grow at its own rhythm. You can water it continuously, but the plant only flourishes on its own when you step back and trust the natural process that is the power of surrendering to the flow of life. Because while you are caught up in the chase, you are faced with a choice. Continue to force things, or have faith that what is meant for you will arrive in its own time. When you cease forcing, that is when the flow starts. The instant you stop struggling, you will begin to attract all you desire with ease. So, how can you manifest your desires without getting obsessed with when or how they will appear? Without the chase, without the force, and without stressing over each small detail. Stick with me, because this final piece is a game changer. Let's begin. Number 1. Detach from the outcome. Let's delve into one of the most significant shifts you can adopt in your life's approach: detaching from the outcome. It is simple to become fixated on results, whether that means landing a dream, if Job achieving a personal milestone, or cultivating a relationship. We tend to believe that if we just focus intensely enough, we can dictate the outcome. But the reality is this: the more you fixate on the results, the greater the resistance you build. When you are obsessed with the final outcome, you generate pressure that restricts your capacity for inspired action. Real power emerges from concentrating on the process, your actions, and your mindset, not the outcome. Here is the truth: when you concentrate solely on results, you detach from the present. Every action you perform should be founded on the conviction that your effort itself is sufficient. The moment you begin to obsess over the how and when of events, you inject stress and resistance into the dynamic. Instead of being in the now, you are living in a state of anxiety, attempting to control what is ultimately beyond your influence. When you detach from the outcome, you redirect your focus to what is within your control, your actions and your responses. This shift enables you to navigate life with greater ease, clarity, and confidence. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism is invaluable. Epictetus once stated, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happens as it should, and you will be happy." Ponder that for a second. Genuine happiness stems from accepting life on its own terms, without demanding it to unfold precisely as you planned. It's about trusting that all is occurring in its own time as part of a larger design, and that what is destined for you will arrive naturally when the moment is right. When you release your attachment to a specific outcome, you clear out mental clutter and give yourself permission to savor the process. Allow me to tell you a story. A friend of mine, we'll call her Lily, was intensely focused on reaching a particular career goal. She labored tirelessly day after day, but regardless of her effort, things failed to move at the pace she wanted. She felt frustrated and worn out, perpetually questioning why things weren't happening sooner. One day, a mentor gave her this advice: focus on giving your best each day and detach from the result. Trust that it will manifest when it's meant to. Lily took this advice to heart. She ceased obsessing over the when and how and instead concentrated on being her best self daily. Over time, opportunities started to align, and everything fell into place with an unexpected ease. So, how do you practice detaching from the outcome? First, concentrate on your actions. Put forth your best effort without being attached to when the results will materialize. Second, release perfectionism. Trust that what unfolds is what's meant to be, and finally remain present. Avoid getting lost in the future. Trust the process and the timing of your life. Ultimately, detaching from the outcome lets you embrace the journey, focus on your actions, and let go of the need for control. When you adopt this mindset, you will discover that the results you want come to you naturally and without effort. Number 2, master your mindset. Let's explore a profound truth. Your thoughts construct your reality. We are bombarded daily with worries, distractions, and external pressures. Yet, the single most important element you can control in life is your mindset. When you achieve mastery over your thoughts, you seize control of how you perceive the world. A calm and focused mind holds the power to attract solutions effortlessly, whereas a reactive, scattered mind can hold you captive in a state of confusion and frustration. Here is the reality. A calm, positive mindset isn't about ignoring challenges. It's about facing them with purpose and clarity. Life is not always smooth, but your response to its challenges is what shapes your experience. With a clear mind, you become more resourceful, more creative, and more receptive to opportunities. You stop reacting based on fear or stress and begin responding with calm, collected strength. This change in perspective allows you to find solutions where others only see roadblocks. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes into play. Marcus Aurelius once remarked, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Consider that your happiness is not contingent on your external circumstances. It is contingent on your interpretation of them. When you command your thoughts, you command your perception, and in doing so, you shape your experience. The quality of your thought serves as the foundation upon which all else is built. If your mind is cluttered with doubt, negativity, or worry, manifesting success or finding peace will be significantly harder. But if your thoughts are anchored in focus, clarity, and optimism, you will naturally move toward the life you desire with ease. Let me share a story. A woman I'm familiar with, let's call her Rachel, had perpetually battled with stress. She was in a constant race against time, overwhelmed with work, and anxious about what the future held. One day she resolved to alter her approach, rather than allowing stress to control her actions. She concentrated on mastering her mindset. She began a mindfulness practice, dedicating time each day to quiet her mind and reframe her thinking. Instead of fixating on all that could go wrong, she focused on what she could control: her actions, her responses, and her attitude. Over time, her stress started to diminish. Opportunities emerged where she had previously seen only obstacles, and she started to view challenges as chances for growth rather than barriers to be avoided. So, how do you go about mastering your mindset? First, grow aware of your thoughts. Begin to notice what is circulating through your mind. Are your thoughts positive, or are you feeding yourself negativity? Second, reframe your perspective. Instead of thinking, "This is impossible," try, "This is a challenge that I am capable of overcoming." And finally, stay grounded in the present moment. When you focus on what you can manage right here and now, the future seems far less daunting. At the end of the day, a focused and calm mind is your most valuable asset. When you master your thoughts, you master your life. So, take the reins of your mindset and you will find that peace. Solutions and opportunities come to you naturally. Your reality is molded by the quality of your thoughts. Choose them with care. If this was valuable for you, hit the like button and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 3, trust in divine timing. Let's discuss a crucial principle in life: trusting in divine timing. It's very easy to get swept up in a sense of urgency, particularly when we deeply desire something. We hurry, we push, and we attempt to force things to unfold. But the truth is this: rushing often results in mistakes. When we rush, we overlook the lessons, the details, and sometimes the very opportunities that were meant to help us grow. It is within the stillness and the waiting that the most meaningful changes take place. When you place your trust in the process, you allow life the space to unfold at the perfect time. Here is the reality: everything happens at the right moment when you practice patience. The issue is that most of us have been conditioned for immediate results. We inhabit a world of fast food, fast information, and instant gratification. But some things, the truly significant things, cannot be rushed. They require time to mature, to develop, and to grow. It's like planting a seed. If you try to speed up the process, you risk damaging its potential to blossom. But if you have faith in nature's timing, in the divine order of the universe, you will witness the beauty of everything aligning when it is meant to. This is where Stoic wisdom offers guidance. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." This is a potent reminder. The things that are genuinely worth having, be it success, wisdom, relationships, or personal growth, do not materialize overnight. They demand persistence, patience, and trust. You have no need to rush or force events. Just continue doing the right things, keep appearing, and know that the right chances will present themselves at the right time. The universe has its own way of resolving things when you cease trying to control every detail. Let me share an anecdote. A friend, whom we'll call Sophie, was fixated on achieving career success. She worked relentlessly, pushing herself ever harder, attempting to make things happen on her schedule. But the more she hurried, the more frustrated she felt. It seemed every door was closing, and she felt she was making no headway. One day, she chose to step back. She stopped forcing events and started to focus on her personal growth, instead improving her skills, expanding her network, and trusting that events would unfold when the time was right. Over time, opportunities began to surface naturally. What she had once tried to force now seemed to flow effortlessly toward her. Sophie came to understand that by letting go of the need to rush, she had opened herself to the perfect timing. So, how can you learn to trust in divine timing? First, release the need for control. Stop attempting to force things to occur before they are ready. Second, concentrate on your growth, not the outcome. Invest in your own development and trust that the right opportunities will appear when you are prepared. And finally, be patient. Realize that everything has its own season, and rushing only breeds frustration. Ultimately, trusting in divine timing is an act of faith. When you let go and permit life to unfold, you make space for the right things to find you. Do not rush the process. Trust that everything will happen when it is meant to. Number 4, act with purpose, not desperation. Let's explore the distinction between acting with purpose and acting from desperation. It is easy to get ensnared in the rush, especially when it feels like time is slipping away or success is just out of grasp. In such moments, the urge to act from a place of desperation can be intense. You scramble, you chase, you push for results. But here is the truth: desperation repels success. When you operate out of fear or urgency, you only attract more of the same confusion, frustration, and missed chances. Genuine success arrives when you act with calm, consistent purpose, not with frantic energy. Here is the reality. Calm, consistent action attracts success to you. Success doesn't emerge from force, it comes from steady, forward movement in the right direction. When you are clear on your destination and take purposeful steps, success will naturally follow. It isn't about rushing or trying to beat everyone else. It's about moving with intention, confidence, and clarity. When you proceed with a clear purpose, you become a magnet for success, and people can sense that quiet confidence. Desperation, however, always makes an impression. People can feel it when you are merely trying to get ahead in a hurry, and it fails to inspire trust or attraction. This is where the wisdom of the Stoics is key. Epictetus once advised, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This captures the essence of purposeful action. It involves first understanding who you aspire to be, your vision, your values, your purpose, and then taking actions that are in alignment with that. When you align your actions with your core purpose, your steps gain confidence and focus. You are no longer moving from a place of desperation, but from a place of deep self-belief and alignment. Allow me to share a story. A man I'm familiar with, we'll call him Jack, was facing struggles in his career. He was pushing himself hard, trying to gain recognition and chasing opportunities in every direction. But regardless of his efforts, he wasn't achieving the results he desired. One day, he had a realization he had been acting out of desperation. His focus was so heavily on getting ahead that he had lost sight of the why behind his actions. Once he stepped back, he started to act with greater purpose. He clarified what he truly wanted, established goals rooted in his values, and began to take thoughtful, consistent steps. Over time, the opportunities began to find him, and they felt aligned with the person he was becoming, not just the things he was chasing. So, how can you act with purpose instead of desperation? First, gain clarity on who you wish to be. Take some time to define your vision and your values. Second, trust the process. Concentrate on taking one step at a time, knowing that every action moves you nearer to your goal. And finally, move with quiet confidence. Let go of the need to rush and trust that success will arrive when your actions align with your purpose. In the end, purposeful action is the foundation of long-term success. When you act with steady, calm intention, you create the space for success to flow to you naturally. Move with purpose, not desperation, and see how everything begins to align in your favor. If you have watched the video up to this point, please leave a comment with "Thank God" and give it a like if you found the content enjoyable. Your support is greatly appreciated and encourages me to create more interesting videos. I hope you find inspiration in them and that we can continue our learning journey together. Thank you for your support. Number 5, let go of control. Discuss one of the most freeing concepts you can possibly embrace. Letting go of control in a world that constantly pressures us to manage every outcome, every person, and every situation. It is easy to become trapped in a cycle of worry. We fret about things we have no power to change, obsess over potential negative outcomes, and stress about what lies beyond our influence. But here is the truth. Worrying about what you cannot control is a waste of energy. You cannot control the actions of others, the future, or the weather. What you can control is yourself, your mindset, your actions, and your responses to the world. Here is the reality. When you concentrate on mastering yourself, you liberate yourself from the burden of trying to control everything else. The more you attempt to control the uncontrollable, the more overwhelmed and stressed you will feel. But when you shift your focus to your own growth, your own peace of mind, and your own responses, everything else begins to fall into place. You cease wasting energy on things that are not important and start living with more purpose, calm, and clarity. Instead of spinning your wheels, trying to manage the unmanageable, you move forward with intention, understanding that your true power is in how you respond, not in how the world behaves. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism offers liberation. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Think about that. True freedom doesn't arise from controlling your world. It arises from releasing the need to control it. When you stop worrying about what you can't alter, you create the space to live fully in the realm of what you can influence. You stop reacting from a place of fear and start responding with focus, wisdom, and calm. Allow me to tell you a story. A woman I know, let's call her Anna, was perpetually anxious about the future. She would worry about matters far beyond her control, such as how others saw her or what might happen with her career. The more she worried, the more paralyzed she felt, and the less she progressed. One day she chose to shift her perspective. Instead of attempting to control every outcome, she concentrated on mastering her reactions and taking charge of her daily actions. She focused on being intentional, being present, and releasing the need to micromanage her existence. Slowly but surely, she began to feel more at ease. Opportunities came to her without effort, and she understood that when she let go of control, life flowed in ways she could never have anticipated. So, how can you let go of control? First, focus on what is within your control. your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. Second, release the need for everything to follow a plan. Trust that what is meant for you will find its way to you naturally. And finally, embrace uncertainty. Understand that life is inherently unpredictable, and that is perfectly fine. Ultimately, genuine freedom comes from relinquishing the need to control your surroundings. When you focus on mastering yourself, you open the door to peace, growth, and the natural flow of life. Let go of control and see how much lighter your life becomes. Number 6. Embody the energy of abundance. Let's delve into one of the most potent shifts you can make in your life, embodying the energy of abundance. So frequently, we find ourselves pursuing what we perceive as lacking. We are in a constant state of striving for more money, more success, more validation. But here's the truth. Instead of chasing what you lack, live as though you possess it already. When you exist in the energy of abundance, you shift your focus from what is missing to what is already present. This simple change in mindset can transform your perspective and open your eyes to new opportunities. Here is the reality. Living as if you already have what you want shifts your entire existence. When you genuinely believe you possess the abundance you are seeking, you start to act in harmony with that belief. You become more focused, more confident, and more open to opportunities. Instead of waiting for an external change to feel abundant, you tap into that internal energy of abundance. This inner wealth then attracts more of what you desire into your reality because you are no longer operating from a position of lack or scarcity. This is where Stoic wisdom provides clarity. Epictetus once stated, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Consider that true wealth is not about the accumulation of things. It is about how little you truly require. When you foster an attitude of abundance, you come to realize that you already have all you need to build the life you desire. This shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset frees you from the perpetual chase, enabling you to appreciate what is already in your life and to trust that more is always making its way to you. Let me share a story. A man I'm familiar with, let's call him James, was perpetually striving for more. He was convinced that once he reached a specific goal or had a certain amount of money or success, he would finally feel whole. But the more he chased, the more distant fulfillment it seemed. One day he simply stopped. He made the decision to live as if he already had everything he needed. He began to practice gratitude for what he possessed: his health, his relationships, his skills. Slowly, he discovered something profound. The more he embraced the energy of abundance, the more opportunities flowed his way. He started to attract the very things he had been pursuing, but this time without the anxiety or desperation. The moment he embodied abundance, the universe began to reflect that same energy back to him. So how do you embody the energy of abundance? First, practice gratitude. Concentrate on what you already possess rather than on what you lack. Second, release attachment to outcomes. Trust that what is destined for you will arrive, and act as if it is already yours. And finally, shift your mindset. Begin to live with the conviction that you are already abundant, and observe how your reality starts to mirror that belief. At the end of the day, true abundance originates from within. When you stop chasing what you believe you lack and start living from a place of already having, you shift your energy and attract everything you desire. Embody the energy of abundance and watch your life transform. Number 7. Take aligned action and let go. Let's discuss one of the most effective ways to progress in life. Taking aligned action and then letting go. All too often, we get caught in the trap of doing everything possible to force an outcome. We stress, we push, and we try to control the result, thinking that if we just work harder or worry more, things will materialize faster. But here is the truth. Do the work, and then release the need for an immediate result. The more you concentrate on forcing things to happen, the more you create resistance. Real success comes from taking purposeful action and then releasing the attachment to when or how the results will appear. Here is the reality. What is meant for you will arrive naturally when you release the need to control the timeline. When your actions are aligned with your purpose, you are already heading in the right direction. The key is to maintain consistency, trust the process, and have patience. The results you are seeking will come in their own time, and often they will arrive in ways you never anticipated. The universe operates on its own schedule, not yours. Therefore, the more you let go of the need to manage everything, the more smoothly events will flow in your life. This is where the wisdom of the Stoics is particularly helpful. Seneca once wrote, "Effort and patience will achieve more than force and anxiety." Ponder that for a second. The Stoics understood that effort devoid of anxiety and patience without desperation lead to greater peace and more significant results. When you are perpetually pushing, stressing, and worrying, you are only generating mental clutter that impedes your progress. But when you release anxiety and trust the process, the results will come naturally, and you will find that success is not as distant as you once thought. Let me share a final story. A woman I know, we'll call her Grace, was finding it difficult to grow her business. She was putting in long hours, chasing every lead, and constantly worrying about her success. But the harder she pushed, the more stressed she felt, and the fewer results she saw. One day a mentor offered her a piece of wisdom. Take the aligned action you know is right, and then let go of the outcome. Trust that what's meant for you will come. Grace began to focus on doing her work with intention and stopped obsessing over when things would change. Within a matter of months, things started to fall into place. Opportunities arrived naturally, and she realized that the key was not in forcing the results, but in trusting the process. So, how do you take aligned action and then let go? First, concentrate on what you can control. Take the actions that are in harmony with your values and trust that the rest will come together. Second, practice patience. Understand that results require time and that the right outcomes will manifest when they are meant to. And finally, release the need to control everything. Let go of the outcome and trust that what is meant for you is already en route in the end. Effort and patience will always produce better results than force and anxiety. Take aligned action, then release the rest, and watch how everything begins to unfold naturally. Success will come when you stop chasing it and simply trust the process. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. Don't forget to hit the bell icon button.